Hello guys. So in our last video we saw an example of how to implement recursive functions. Now here in today's video we'll explore some more recursive functions. So we'll see some more examples of recursive program. One of the most common operation in recursive finding to implement recursive function is compute factorial of a number n. Okay, so suppose this is the problem. Now if you follow my previous video, you remember that I told you that any iterative function could be converted into a recursive function. So iterative function means the function which requires loop to perform its major calculation. So now suppose we need to write a function that will compute factorial of a given number n. So now let me tell you how to compute factorial iteratively, then we will convert it into recursive. Okay, so first of all, int name of the function is fact. I am not writing the complete program, rather I am giving just iterative definition. Then a parameter is required, int, let's say n. Now we assume that the value of n, the n will receive an argument, an integer argument, and it will store it. That integer argument will be stored in n from its caller. Whoever will call the fact function, that caller will pass a value, and that value, integer value, will be stored in n, and we have to compute factorial of n. Now since I want to implement it iteratively, for computing factorial I need to define a variable f equals to 1. So let us initialize f equal to 1, and then we can simply write while n greater than 0, f equals to f into n, and then n minus minus. Fine. So this is what factorial. Then I can perform return f. Okay. So this is what this is an iterative version of computing factorial. Now if you observe this iterative version, the loop, as long as n is greater than 0, my computation will be conducted. But once n becomes equal to 0, my program will stop, because in that when n equal to 0, then the condition become false and it will jump over here, and the result will be return f. Okay. Now if I have to convert the same into a recursive program, first I have to create a recursive formula. Okay, so let me rewrite the recursive formula of factorial. So fact of n is how much? What is the value of factorial? See, if n factorial is required, what is required? I can perform n into n minus 1 factorial. So the factorial could be defined in terms of factorial again. Okay, I have to compute n minus 1 factorial, and the result could be multiplied with n. So the same definition will be written here. Now for exit criteria, for return criteria, what is the return criteria? You conduct while, you just carefully observe while statement. What is the false condition of this while? That when n is equal to 0, my condition is false. Okay, so now here I have to write an exit criteria. As long as I will say when n is, suppose n is 0, so when n is 0, I don't need to compute any factorial, so I can straight away say the answer is 1. So my answer will be 1 if n equals to 0. Okay, so when n is 0, factorial of 0 is 1. Otherwise, that means if n is not 0, that is greater than 0, then what to do? Then I will write this formula. I have to perform n, then I will multiply the n with whom? With factorial of n minus 1. So I have to compute factorial of n minus 1. So I will call the function once again, fact function, and I will pass argument as n minus 1, whatever current value of n is, I will reduce 1 and I will pass it. So this is what recursive formula of computing factorial, and that same formula now can be implemented in my function in my algorithm or in my program. So how can I create a recursive program? See, I can write int, then let's say the name of the function is rfact. Rfact means recursive fact, and then I will write int n. So look at the formula here. So this is my exit criteria. So straight away I can write if n equal 0, return 1. Okay, else what? Else I have to perform n multiplied with, first I should call fact function, rfact function once again, and then pass argument n minus 1, and this result will be stored in variable f. So let us declare an variable f. Okay, and then I can write return f. I hope you understood the definition. Okay, now how this program is going to execute, that explanation can be understood. Okay, let us assume for the first call the value of n is 3. So I am keeping it very short, 3. So value of f is not known yet. So these are the two variables that is declared here. Now this is said this is the first call. This is my first call. First call means this function is called from the main program. Okay. Now if n is 0, no. So go to else part. N means here value of n is 3. So 3 into what is the next operand? We don't know. So for the next operand again a function has been called. So first this function will be completed and the result will be available here to get the operand of asterisk. So to compute this function in my main memory, the function, a second function is required. Okay, now int fact int n. Now value passed is n minus 1, that is 2. So for n, here n there will be a different n which is 2, and there will be a f also whose value is right now unknown. Now here we have written integer f is there, then if n equals to 0, return 1, else f equal to n into rfact, this is rfact n minus 1 and return f. Okay, now here the condition doesn't satisfy, n equal to 0 doesn't satisfy, else part will be executed. Now n is here 2 into, we don't know with whom the value 2 will be multiplied. The value 2 will be multiplied with factorial of a1. So I have to first compute factorial of rfact n minus 1. So again n minus 1 is passed. So 2 minus 1 means 1. So it will be passed with another function. Okay, so int rfact int n. Now again here there will be int f equal f, and then if n equals to 0. Okay, now problem is when here in the second call, this is my second call. In the from second call it will go to the third call. Now in the third call the value of n will become 1 and there will be f with nothing stored here. So if n equal to 0, no, return 0 will not execute. So else part will execute. So in the else part we have f equal to n into, so n means 1. Again recursive fact is called by passing n minus 1, and then it will perform return f. Okay, now this is my third call. Now from third call, when the n exit criteria doesn't matches, it will move to else part. Again rfact will be called to the fourth time. So this is fourth call. So all these calls are known as recursion depth. Recursion depth means how long the same function is called again and again. So we will go to the fourth depth. So in the fourth depth, int rfact, and that is an integer n. Now here n, fourth call is made from the third call. In the third call the value of n was 1. So when the fourth call is made, n minus 1 means 1 minus 1, 0. So here n is 0 and there will be f over here. Now from here, if integer f is written, and it is checked if n equal to 0, return 1, and else part will not execute anymore because the exit criteria satisfy over here and it will return 1. To whom it will return 1? This is my fourth call, and in the fourth depth the exit criteria satisfies. Okay, it will return 1 to the third depth. Why? Because fourth depth has been called from the third depth. Okay, so the value 1 is written over here to this artifact, which was the operand of this multiplication, and the first operand was n. In the third call the value of n was 1, so 1 is multiplied with 1 and result is 1, and it is stored in f. So value of f over here is 1. Okay, and then return f. So the third call shall return the value 1 to whom? To the second call, and 1 is returned here. In the second call the value of n was 2, so 2 is multiplied with 1 and the result obtained is 2, which is stored in f, so f becomes 2. So the second call will return f. It will return f means it will return to whom? To the first call, and the first call will get 2. Okay, in this calls part. Now in this particular location the value of n was 3, because in the first call we passed n as 3. 3 is multiplied with 2, so result will be 6. The value 6 is stored in f. Okay, and finally this will return to whom? Return to main program. Okay, so guys, this is how a recursion shall work. Now the interesting fact is, whenever you make a recursive function call, see, the moment from the first call another call was made, this function has to wait to get the result back over here. Okay, so the value of f was not available unless this multiplication was conducted. So f will remain in the memory. Okay, and when from here the second call is made, another memory location is reserved for n and another memory location is reserved for f. So we assume that the memory location n and f for the second call are different from n and f of the first call. So these two n and f are different variable, and these two n and f are different variable. Although their name are same, but every time the function call itself, a separate memory locations are reserved for its parameter as well as local variable. Okay, this is what you have to remember. Clear? Now when the function terminates, when this function will terminate, these memory location will be destroyed from the memory, will be destroyed. The value n, variable n and variable f will be destroyed, but the variable n and f in the first call will remain there in the memory. Okay, so in our next video we will see how a stack is used to implement this type of recursive function, because we are studying recursion as an application of stack. You remember, okay, we remember my video of application of stack. We are discussing recursion for what? To know, to understand what is the application of stack in recursion. Okay, so in my next video I will show you the application of stack in implementing recursion. Okay, till then, thank you.